having your end-all be-all on the internet be that you're a lolcow and just continuously be involved with drama and over-the-top nonsense and doing it on purpose to make money, it's not going to turn out well for you. Who cares if you bought a new car? How is that your business? If Phil works, makes money, and decided to buy a new car, how the hell does it have to do anything with you? I think what's happened is now you get guys like Kino Casino and others. It's not just them. I get the feeling there's others out there now who are looking at the situation. They're like, this is the dumbest thing. How do you keep bringing up Phil's name? You know what? I bet they're going to tear me a new one. I bet they're going to watch the video of me eating the barbecue. Okay, excuse me. Whew. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this morning at 10 a.m. before I even started broadcasting, I received an incredibly generous $100 tip. $100. Oh, I'd like to dance, but I don't really have energy. Hold on. My nose is running again. This is ridiculous. I can't even shout out stuff because my nose won't stop running. Oh my God.
Can you guys tell that he's sick? I know that he hasn't said it yet, so could you tell? I'm being facetious, of course, because I've never seen a grown man act so pitiful when sick before. It's just another layer of pathetic, unique entirely to DSP. Speaking of pathetic, that little dance. You'd think that for $100, he'd put a little more pep in his steps, so to speak, but I guess after all of the donos from the casino dents over the past few days, he's already grown numb to it. And who can blame him, really? It's just more dents shoveling money directly into his pocket. And that's not meant to throw any shade at Kino Casino or their fans. That's just the way that the rules work. I don't make them. If you give money to the guy, you are a dent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I'm going to read it. Cheers from Kino Casino. They really are good guys over there, man. They go after people, sure, but people who deserve it. You've been maligned for years. It's just unfair. Take care, bro. So, that is awesome. Thank you to whoever this is. They didn't put a name on it. But, as I said, yeah, these guys from Kino Casino, you're going to be really nice to me. And, you know, can I be honest? Can I talk a little bit about it? Would you guys like to talk a little bit about it? Because a lot of people have been asking me stuff about this recently. So this is anonymous. So, basically, I think what's happening is it's pretty simple, all right? Over the years, there's been a group of people on the internet called lolcows, okay? Typically, these are people who end up getting a group of haters, trolls, detractors, whatever you want to call them, who do everything in their power to mess with them, to elicit a response, correct? That's really what it is. Lolcow culture is like, we're going to do stuff to mess with someone's life, to milk them, essentially, for content, right? Now, I've been grouped in with this group of people, but it's groups of people such as Low Tier God, Wings of Redemption, Boogie, and many others, okay? It's not just us, but we're like the more prominent ones people know about, right?
Yes, Phil, you've already used the term lolcow 1,000 times already. There's really no need to pig-splain it to everyone yet again. But he always does this. He thinks that he has people in his audience that I guess just woke up from a coma and found themselves watching his pre-stream almost immediately. The most ironic part of all, though, is that recently he actually has garnered some new audience members, but given the fact that these people are supposedly avid Kino enjoyers, I don't think that they need lolcows explained to them. In fact, I would venture to say that they could probably give a more comprehensive explanation than the guy ever could, despite being a lolcow himself. I do find it incredibly funny, though, that he included himself in the prominent list of lolcows. Not that that's exactly something that I would be bragging about, but hey, you do you. But when you really look into it, in the land of lolcows, DSP is still kind of a nobody. He's not as crazy or interesting as Kristen Weston Chandler or Dragon Lord, for example. So even when it comes to being insufferable, the guy can't even get the recognition he yearns for.
But I think what's been happening in the last several years, and it's been a long time coming, in my opinion, and you could see the writing on the wall, just that a lot of people don't want to see it, is that once you get to a certain point, okay, it kind of gets tired. The narrative continues so long, and what you start to see is a division. You start to see people who are like, oh, well, if people are going to make fun of me and mess with me, I'm gonna ride that wave. I'm gonna use that as my way to get over on the internet. I'm going to take that bag. I'm going to make money doing it. I'm going to milk my trolls and get them to come watch content that I'm making that's lolcow-esque in the light. On the flip side of that, there's people who are involved with this. They're like, I just want nothing to do with this. I'm just a normal person. I don't know how I ever got involved to begin with. right? I got sucked in against my will. And all I want to do is sit here and make a living, having fun, chilling with you guys, and be left alone. Really, I want nothing. I want nothing to do with it at all, correct? Nothing. So, the funny part about this is, it's gone two ways. Some of these lolcows went so far in one way that now they have the entire ire of the internet on them. Take a look at what's been going on with Boogie recently, right? I mean, that's his fault. I warned them. You can't be having your end-all be-all on the internet be that you're a lolcow and just continuously be involved with drama and over-the-top nonsense and doing it on purpose to make money. It's not going to turn out well for you, right? But he does what he wants to do. He doesn't listen to anyone. He makes the same mistakes over and over. And he ends up where he is right now, okay? For me, I've done everything I can to avoid it. And the thing is, if you follow me, right, you'll see the difference between me and these other people. Every freaking week or two, there's new drama involving these people, right? Every week or two, there's something new going on, that they've done something ridiculous, over-the-top, nonsensical. And it's like, what is going on? With me, it's like, why are people even bringing my name up? What has happened dramatic with me in the last several months to a couple of years, honestly? The shit that people bring up is exactly the same shit that they brought up for the past 5 years. Nothing new has happened. Nothing new is happening. I've grown. I've improved. I make less mistakes now than I ever did before. And all I want to do is be left alone. I don't want to live as part of lolcow culture. I don't want to milk it. I don't want to make money off of it. I just want to make positive content for my audience, right? I want to be left alone. That's a far different attitude than the people who lean into it, right? For personal gain.
That is definitely a different attitude, I'll give you that, but it doesn't make you any less of a lolcow no matter how much you wish it did. You can see he desperately wants to differentiate himself from the other people he listed, but what he fails to realize is that the way that he behaves, the very thing that he thinks makes him less of a lolcow, is actually the very thing that attracts so many people to follow him as a lolcow. Where you know Wings will have a sad and pathetic emotional breakdown, and Boogie's going to shamelessly play into being a lolcow and grift his way all the way through his entire life. DSP on the other hand is going to live in complete denial all the way up until he passes. So despite all of their differences in their day-to-day behavior, when it really boils down to it, they're one and the same, and it's just a pick your poison style situation. Speaking of Boogie though, I really don't understand where DSP is getting off thinking that Boogie, or anyone else for that matter, should be listening to him for advice. He's trapped in the exact same rat race that they are, making the same mistakes, not learning from those mistakes, and thinking that he's more deserving than everyone else. The biggest difference between the two is that DSP hasn't faked cancer yet.
So what's happened is a couple things. Number one, I think in the last few years, people have started to separate me from the other lolcows, especially when Keemstar was dying to have me on his stupid ass podcast, and I refused. And I basically gave him the middle finger and said, "F you, I want nothing to do with you or your content, ever. I'm not like you." Okay? I think a lot of people respected that. You know, said, wow, we thought for sure someone, you know, if Phil claims he's hard up on money sometimes, and we thought for sure he'd take the payday and he'd jump on there with the other clowns, right? But he didn't. I think that actually built up a lot of respect in different communities for me. Not to say that these communities like me, but these are communities that used to group me in at the worst of the worst. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Actually sounds like he's actually not that bad anymore, right?
Whose opinion changed after he turned down the 50K? Who heard that and came away with a better opinion of DSP? Everyone that I talked to about it thought he was the biggest bozo in the situation. Because 50K is an absurd amount of money as a sign-on. To just walk away from it was ludicrous. Lolcow Live as a show isn't very good, and the drama is obviously forced and nonsense, but had he taken the money, he could have been in a similar style situation to Wings or Tommy C, two people who have come out looking better, at least in comparison to Boogie, and are still getting paid regularly for minimal work. So let's not pretend that just because the show isn't interesting, that DSP somehow got the dub on this one. Because there was money to be made, and all DSP did was prove that he's a huge coward and not as financially destitute as he lets on every day with his infinite beg cycle.
Now, on the flip side of this, what's happened over the years is those people who used to be my biggest critics, the people who used to be my milkers and milk me for content, have finally had the tables turned on them, right? All of a sudden, their closets cracked open and a giant pile of skeletons jumped out. And as the skeletons jumped out, people were like, wait a minute, hold on a second. This is the person who used to rail on Phil every day for stuff, but look at all this dirty laundry that just spilled out. They're no better than him. In fact, they're worse than him because they had all this and I'll say it again. I personally feel the reason why there are people who full-time do this kind of like harsh drama content against people is because they're miserable in real life, right? Like take a look at someone like Review Tech USA, who for the years and years and years of content that I put out, that's been positive content for my audience, he always has to be there to make fun of every little thing, every idiosyncrasy that I do, right? He's the one who every year literally has an annual party to celebrate my incident from May of 2016. 8 years annually, this guy celebrates accidental masturbation. I want you to think about that. This is like a big highlight for his life. Now, if you said that to anyone outside of the internet and said, there's a guy who literally celebrates that someone accidentally whacked off on camera every year, they'd be like, what the f is wrong with that person? What, are they mentally ill? Well, probably. Yeah, because who else would celebrate that?
Let's clear up one thing real quick. There was no accidental masturbation. There was accidental exhibitionism, but the masturbation itself was completely intentional. Semantics aside, as someone who does often talk about the Snortex and being a detractor in real life to people totally out of the know when it comes to the internet, I have told them about the May 1st burst, and yes, I have told them previously that there are people and channels that do specials on that day as a joke. Not once have I ever got a negative response. In fact, every person I've ever told this to found it incredibly amusing that he gets felted in such a way. Maybe that's saying more about the caliber of people that I associate with, but I honestly think that it's irrelevant. It's my own anecdotal story that runs contrary to the way that DSP says people would behave. And honestly, what does DSP know about how other people are going to behave? He leaves his house once a week. Now, when it comes to these misery merchants bullying lolcows because their own life sucks, I have to ask, Phil, what makes the casino any different? What differentiates them from any other lolcow commentary? Is it really just because they're nice to you? Is that all it takes to go entirely against your own morals, you spineless cretin?
Like, all it is someone like him looks at someone like me and wants to celebrate my mistakes and shortcomings to make him feel better about himself, right? Because in reality, if you take a look at Review Tech versus me, his content is toxic, his content is harmful, his content is drama. He has 1 million subs because he makes toxic, harmful drama content. It's the lowest common denominator. It's the easiest kind of content you can make on the internet. It's trash, okay? That's why he's popular, because those people went and watched the trash content and he made money. But in reality, if you take a look at him and his life, now that these things are coming out, right? These things are being revealed about his life and things behind the scenes. This guy's fucking miserable, right? His family life fell apart. His business is falling apart. All his relationships have fallen apart. And so his attacking me over the years was literally projecting his I'm better than you attitude on me, when in reality, my life was getting better behind the scenes and his was falling apart. You see? And that's why people like that act like that.
How does he always manage to find the most convoluted way to convey the simplest idea that's already been said to death? We get it, DSP. You think that everyone who doesn't like you is some miserable wretch who's seething because you have totally a not overweight wife and an ill cat. You've said it 1,000 times, and usually it's far more to the point. But again, I find myself wondering, what exactly makes Kino Casino any different in his eyes? Why are they getting the pass? Well, I should say getting a pass. I don't think either of them have the pass, if you know what I'm saying. And what happened to all of that nonsense about not knowing anything about RTU's drama and wanting to get to the bottom of it and figure out who he is? It sounds like you have all of the details. It's almost like that was an excuse so that you could dip your toes back into the drama that you so love.
You see? But he knew that if he focused on me being bad, the light would be off of him. Plus, he'd be feeling better about himself, right? And I think they're all like that. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how many subs you have, how many views you have, and how much money you make. Are you happy? Right? Because I'm a firm believer that if you are happy, you would not be bringing down others around you. You'd be so busy with content that makes you happy, with things in your life that make you happy, you wouldn't want to bring down others, right? That's my opinion anyway, and that's why I don't do it. I don't sit here crapping on people constantly. I'm only doing it when people bring it up or someone brings me into the situation, like Rich has been bringing me up recently, really nasty stuff, and it's like, yeah, I'll respond to it then. But I got shit to do, man. I've got games to play. I got chill stuff to do with you guys. This is more important to me than sitting here reacting to a bunch of these idiots on the internet, right?
If there are two things that I love, it's Phil pretending that he's a legitimate busy adult and him trying to make a list. Because in both cases, he always manages to make himself out to look worse than had he just kept his mouth shut. I mean, did you hear all of the super important things that occupy his time, like playing video games and chilling with you guys? Very clearly, his schedule is packed, and he couldn't possibly find time to follow any sort of internet drama or talk about it. Please completely ignore all of the times that he did exactly that, though, of course. You wouldn't want to be a troll, would you?
And so I think what's happened is in the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a division, especially when I refuse to be involved with Keemstar and his lolcow bullshit, right? So what happens is you get the division and people are like, wait a minute, Phil is not who everyone says he is. right? They want you to believe he is, because that benefits them. Then they can make more content and laugh or whatever. But he's not, right? He has nothing to do with this whatsoever, right? So leave him alone. And I think that guys like at the Kino Casino, these are guys over on Kick. Yes, they react to content. There's drama content. I mean, they've been reacting to the big Mr. Beast situation that's been going on recently. They react to the Boogie situation. They react to review tech stuff. And it's funny because they react to me too. And I've watched the stuff that they've said about me. Okay? I've watched it. Some of it's unfair, I feel. Like there was actually a whole segment they did a week or two ago saying I had a midlife crisis. But if you actually listen to it, it's all misinformation. It's them having really incorrect notions about me. And then kind of, going off of that for comedic purposes. I don't find that offensive. Why? Because these guys, all right, when they're saying that stuff, they're not literally sitting there trying to ruin my life. It's kind of a joke. And I watch it, and you know what? I laugh at it too. Like, for example, the other day, they reviewed me reviewing the Feastables bar from Mr. Beast. And they made fun of me, but they also made fun of the candy. They did all that. It was entertaining. These guys are not sitting here to be malicious to me. And that's why I think that they're different. They've actually taken a look at the situation, and as outsiders, because they haven't been involved in it, as outsiders, they can see what's equivalent and what's not. And they're like, Phil is not like all these other people who people are trying to group him in with.
I don't think that they ever stated that, no. At least not from what I've seen. They very sarcastically praise you and act as though you're better than some other lolcows, but only to already set the standard incredibly low to emphasize the degeneracy of another cow. You know, I often think to myself that I'm not giving DSP enough credit, and that in his own weird, scammy way that he is more intelligent than I give him credit for. But then we get into arcs like this, where halfway through season 16 of the Dark Side Phil show, he is getting honey-dicked by people who clearly don't have aligning interests or morals. How did he walk away from 50k and working with Keemstar to trusting two A-log styles from Canada who make content over on Kick? A site that I want to remind everyone, DSP has hated on in the past and had no interest in ever checking out. I'd say that I don't understand how we got to this point, but I do, and it's all Dicker's fault. But please, DSP, continue to tell us how you aren't like the other lolcows and how Kino noticed you for the pick-me that you truly are.
He's not trying to capitalize on the lolcow culture bullshit. He doesn't want to be involved with Keemstar and his bullshit. He just wants to be left alone, but people won't leave him alone. They bring up the same tired shit for 4 or 5 years. One of the interesting things they said the other day, because the other day was the marathon, right? And I'm sitting here, and one of my trolls was in the chat, and they go, oh, you bought a new car. All right, now for the record, no, I haven't bought a new car. I don't have credit or money to buy a car. Okay, I don't need a new car. My car is still fine. 2017 car, it's still fine. I'll probably have it still for a while before I consider looking for a new car. And I said, no, I didn't get a new car. I don't know why you would even bring that up. Or like, I don't even understand. And the few people that were in the chat from Kino Casino, they all said it together. They said, who cares if he bought a new car? How is that your business? If Phil works, makes money, and decided to buy a new car, how the hell does it have to do anything with you? Why would you ask on his stream? Why would you be in his personal shit? Like, what are you talking about? And the person immediately was like, oh shit, and got thrown the fuck out, and that was it. And I was like, wow, these people actually stuck up for me.
Something about the pathetic way he talks about some random LARPer in his chat sticking up for him, as if it really meant something, makes my skin crawl. When it comes to the topic of why people care about what DSP's money goes to, it's because he begs. It's that simple. Anyone else on the internet, or anywhere for that matter, really should be able to spend the money that they earn working however they see fit. Now, whether or not you consider what DSP does as work is a different argument entirely. But because he begs, because he is looking for sympathy tips all day long and tells everyone about how poor he is, his finances and all of his purchases are going to be analyzed. That's one of the reasons for years people have been telling him to just quit begging as often. A lot of the ire that people have for him stem from this one constant behavior. And for some reason, he makes no progress in changing. He doesn't even attempt to try and beg any less. It's the exact same amount every single day, if not more.
Like, they actually had a realistic take. Instead of everything being drama about Phil, they actually saw it from a realistic perspective. Like, what the fuck cares? Even the thing is, and I've told you guys many times over the years, all the shit that's said about me usually is based on a nugget of truth that then gets extrapolated into a world of bullshit, right? Have I ever played mobile games? Yes. Have I spent money on mobile games? Yes. 99% of the stuff said out there about me playing mobile games is a lie. But it's like I've said, I would much rather have the devil I know than the devil I don't. Right now, if I were to open up all my accounts and prove to you that everything was false, people would use the information I just showed you to hurt me further in other ways. I've been through the whole mobile game slander for 4 years. I don't care. It doesn't affect me anymore, right? It doesn't bother me. So I'd rather have that slander continue over here, because it's bullshit, than have a whole new can of worms opened up. Do you see? I've weighed and balanced this many times. I've talked to professionals. I've talked to lawyers about it, and they're saying, you're doing the right thing, okay?
Had to press X to doubt on that one. DSP actually take the time to speak to a professional style lawyer? Really have to doubt, man. Come on. Everyone knows the real reason you won't show your account is because it would prove that down from the rafters was you the entire time and you've been lying. Pretend all you want that it doesn't bother you and that it's nothing new and it's an old conspiracy from 4 years ago, but there is a reason you're skipping that segment when you watch your own June documentary.
The funny part about it is, even if it was true, it's still none of anyone's fucking business. But it's not true. But if it were, it still wouldn't be anyone's business. I should still be able to spend my money however the fuck I want. I could have 10 Tesla Cybertrucks in my backyard, right? I could have an entire dancing line of WWE wrestlers doing my lawn right now who I handpicked to do it. It doesn't matter. That's my money. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? How is this anyone's fucking business?
Because you are the case example of an internet panhandler. You offer nothing of value and expect people to just throw money at you for your non-temp. People tend to get really upset when they find out that their local beggar in their town actually doesn't need the money and instead does it because it's a good living and then they don't want to work. According to DSP though, it shouldn't matter if they panhandle all day and they get into their brand new BMW at the end of the day, because that's their money, stupid. The only reason he doesn't see the similarities is that he genuinely doesn't believe that he's begging. It just goes to show you how completely pignatized he really is and how out of touch with reality he is.
And I agree with these people. I'm like, you know what? I never thought about it like that because I've been under attack for so long that for me, I'm so used to being under attack. It's like, well, I never want to talk about it ever. But now I start to think about it. I'm like, you know, these people are right. It's no one's fucking business or anything, right? Like, what are you talking about? So I think what's happened is now you get guys like Kino Casino and others. It's not just them. I get the feeling there's others out there now who are looking at the situation. They're like, this is the dumbest thing. How do you keep bringing up Phil's name? They see guys like Review Tech. They see guys like Keemstar who can't keep my name out of their mouths. And they're like, why do they keep bringing up Phil? Honestly, because they're so upset with the fact that I'm still here. I'm not involved with their bullshit drama circles, but I still make a living and I'm still successful. I'm fulfilled in my life. Happy. They can't stand that. You understand? Because their whole thing is misery, bringing down others for personal gain. And they can't bring me down. So they hate me because of that, right?
All of the detractors I know and talk to don't legitimately want DSP to go down or disappear off of the internet. They like laughing at him and they like watching the train wreck that is his life. And I think that that legitimately is the best mentality to have when it comes to these things. And anything further than that, further than laughing and joking about DSP, are ops that can't be condoned by the bookkeeper. That being said, shout out of course, I'm curious as to why all of a sudden he thinks that there are people out there that are also changing their opinion on him in this manner. Where is the evidence for this? What signs are there? Can he name another, please? Because before Kino came around, fake glazing the guy, no one was saying anything positive about him, and I don't think that the fake positivity from them has had the impact the way that he thinks it has.
Kino Casino guys have been very nice to me, all right, in the last week, and I've only spoken with them a couple of times, and we've had some really nice conversations, I'll just say that. And I don't want to commit to anything because I'm not going to. I refuse to. But the way I see it is, you know, you take it slow. Obviously, when you're involved with a new group of people, you want to be sure that the best interests on both sides are there, right? And so if maybe I do something with these guys in the future, it will be planned. You'll know about it, okay? And I mean like something formal. I don't mean, oh, you know, some of you guys drop into my stream or maybe I drop into their stream. That's casual, right? I mean like planning something out where maybe we'll actually work together on something, you know, in a capacity. Let's plan it together. Let's work on it together. Let's make sure that it works and stuff. And we'll work that out, right? There's a possibility we might do something over the summer. I don't know, right? But at the same time, I want to be sure that it's the best interest of me.
I want to be clear that the abrupt cut in his sentence was on his end and not mine. He'll explain that in just a minute. But what I want to talk about is how DSP is on stream right now, talking about how he wants to take it slow with Kino Casino. Number one, that sounds a little strange saying it like that. It's giving more dating and less online collaboration. Second thing, how is the speed at which he's moving in the relationship indicating that to his audience? They say actions speak louder than words, you know, yet here DSP is just 2 weeks or so after being introduced to Kino Casino and Kick as a whole for the first time, and he's already looking to do collabs. And I'm gonna say it now because of how late this video is, that not only is he looking to get a collab, but he has in fact already secured a feature on the Kino Casino, just 1 week after this clip was taken. So he wants to take it slow, but give him a few days and he's gonna be on his hands and knees for PPP and Andy? Sounds like a right slag to me.
I'll tell everyone in chat, FYI, I'm having a blip in my internet. Okay, it's coming back now. There we go. It's back now. Okay, so with the side scrollers thing, the idea was I was going to go on their show and be a guest and have fun. We were going to talk about topics. We were going to hang out, shoot the shit. It wasn't supposed to be an interview. All of a sudden, because my detractors contact them and flood them with requests, it becomes a giant interview that they use to propel themselves to internet attention and stardom. And since then, basically, they've done nothing but benefit from that stupid interview, right? Well, the whole idea here is Kino Casino is talking to me and they're like, we don't have any intention of that at all. Like, why is it that you can't have fun on the internet with anyone? Why is it that every time that you attempt to have fun, someone tries to thwart it? That's fucked up. I agree. I can't just hang out with someone and have a casual time and have fun.
But he's really done that to himself. I know that's a hard thing to justify to some people, probably not you guys, let's be honest, but he is responsible for all of his own actions, and one of the repercussions for those actions, for the way that he's behaved, is the trolling. There are ways for him to still play with others and do these collabs though. Hell, if Wings can do it, DSP definitely can do it. The only thing holding him back is the fact that he's absolutely terrified of any sort of confrontation. I mean, he runs at the mere idea that someone could say something that he doesn't like and it be out of his control. And that's why I can't believe that the one time he really wants to pull the trigger on this collab is with known trolls. Known trolls on a site that infamously does not have any sort of chat moderation. Also, when it comes to the side scrollers interview, I'm failing to see how that's still something that they're profiting from, at least the way that he's making it sound. Like they're still raking in cash hand over fist or something. They had a couple of interesting streams revolving around the guy and they were paid for it. Isn't that the kind of behavior that he specifically is always looking for on his own streams? Isn't he the one that's constantly telling people that if you like the content, be sure to support it? How is he going to be seething when that's the exact case for other content creators?
Every time that I go to do a stream with Brian and play casual Street Fighter, my fucking dumb fuck, mentally ill, insane haters have to flood his chat with insane amounts of toxic negativity about memes about me and awful things and terrible things about viewers and stuff. What the fuck? What's wrong with them? They're nuts, you know? So every time I try to do this stuff, they have to interject themselves, right, into it. Well, I think that Kino Casino's smarter than that. And they know the bullshit that's there, and they'd rather be fair, and that's nice. So we'll see what happens, all right? And I want to say thank you to this person who's from Kino Casino coming by, being nice, right? So nice. I mean, what $100 tip is crazy. I mean, I didn't even know about these guys until like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Someone had mentioned them in chat, saying that they were talking about me, and then I found that clip where they were referencing Rich, and basically, you know, I referenced that clip then, and then we kind of gone back and forth for like the last week. Listen, so far, I've seen absolutely nothing but positivity from these guys.
Except, of course, all of the hurtful detractor memes that they've repeated, right? The things that you've openly addressed already, or are you already trying to retcon that? I just need to know so that I can store the information differently. Of course, I'm aware that he tries to justify it in his own piggy brain as equal opportunity razzing, whatever the hell that's even supposed to mean, and that's what makes everything kosher in this situation. I do absolutely believe, though, that they were nice behind the scenes, but wasn't Craig as well? Wasn't Mike Klum? Wasn't Rich of Review Tech USA? Given how often DSP's talking about how street smart he is and how dumb everybody else is, you'd think that he'd be a better judge of character when it comes to the company that he's deciding to keep. Apparently that's just not the case though, as his rap sheet has shown.
Right? And by the way, rest assured, I'm going to be careful because I've told you guys, I'm going to be careful with this community. I care about all you guys who come to my content and watch it every day. I want to make sure that anything that I get involved with, it's not going to negatively affect this community in any way. That's more important to me that we maintain our positive community than to just get some kind of a temporary boost in attention because I'm on someone's show or they're on mine or whatever. I want you to understand that. At the same time, this has been a completely different experience. This is not, oh, so DSP, you know, is interested in talking with us or whatever. Let's turn this into a full fucking 10-ring circus with every single person who's never liked him on the show. Let's interview him for 7 hours. Let's then make weeks and weeks of content after the fact to milk it and his haters. You know, it's like, what? That's what gets me. Is like, how do people not understand the difference between all I wanted to do was be a guest on Side Scrollers? They turned that into an unlimited time interview, which I agreed to. And then after giving them that time and respect, they then went on weeks of milking negativity against me and taking money away from my haters who were so dumb they paid them to shit on me for weeks. And then after the fact of telling me, it's off, you can't be a guest on our show, we don't trust you, off, when the gravy train dried up, then they tried to contact me. Oh, can we play Street Fighter together? Would you like to appear on the show? No, you. What are you, crazy? You treated me like dirt. Why on earth would I come back to your content? You'd have to be an idiot. And the truth is, because they are idiots. They actually thought I would go back. they thought for, like, what would I benefit from that, right?
I don't know, maybe making yourself look better, maybe being more prepared and open and real with people so that you come off as less of a liar and scammer? Not that he's worried about any of that. Obviously, he's been getting by just fine. Or is he? He's always saying it's one and then the other, so it's kind of hard to keep track whether the hand graft is going up or it's going down. I do absolutely love, though, that he didn't see the challenges to Street Fighter as a taunt or antagonization. Because of course, DSP wouldn't be able to see that they were going to be laughing at him regardless of whether he accepted or not, because he entertained the idea and talked about it, and that really was the end goal anyway. And how does he immediately bring up that it was an unlimited time interview to immediately say that he agreed to it? How the hell is he going to be upset that he granted somebody's permission to do something and then they did it? Nothing about that makes any sort of sense. It's only normal in the snort fort that he hides away in.
They're out of their minds, right? So, exactly right. The interview itself, I don't have issue with. Because I knew, again, the devil I know versus the devil I know. I'd rather deal with the devil I know. So if everyone doesn't believe me about mobile game spending and bullshit, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I've already been through it for 4 or 5 years. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to reveal all my personal information to the internet and then have people all over all my accounts and all my shit. You know what I'm saying? And then it just hurts me and my family. I'm not stupid. Lawyers have told me not to do this. So I'm not going to do it. Okay? In fact, well, I don't really want to spoil. Hold on a second here. I have to blow my nose, guys. Sorry. I have to do this right now. Okay, hold on 1 second.
All of that is the same excuses he always uses when talking about why he can't show his account, aside from the lawyer thing. That is a new addition. Of course, DSP informed everyone of this secret law style meeting with the perfect amount of vagueness to make everyone believe it never happened. Couldn't imagine why anyone would think he's a liar with things to hide. The real focus should be on that tissue handling there, though. Let me run that back for everyone, because he cuts away from the stream to blow his nose, but went in for the full pointer finger pick with the tissue here. I understand, sometimes, okay, well you have to get in for the proper clearing, right? But have some sort of decency and do it off camera, for Christ's sake. What comes next, though, is just, well, it's something else, but it expertly showcases just how little DSP truly cares about his audience's experience when it comes to his content. Apologies in advance to anyone eating.
Ugh. Oh my god. Ew. This is so disgusting. I'm sorry, guys. Thank God I turned the camera off. Oh my god. Yuck. Oh, man. I'm not muting it because then you have dead air. Would you rather have dead air? Right? Ugh. Yuck. All right, hold on.
Yes, because the best content is made when the streamer blows his nose directly into the microphone, describes how disgusting it is, and then berates his audience for requesting that he mute his mic when doing so. He thinks that this is a smart response to get back at all of the trolls over the years who have given him this exact same advice before, but all it really does is drive off people and continue to make himself as unappealing to anyone from the outside looking in as possible. What I want to do now is jump a bit ahead because there is one more thing I want to be sure to include before we end this one.
Anyway, the point here is, I think people like, not just Kino Casino, I think there's many others, but Kino Casino is kind of coming out. Now listen, they make fun of me for shit. Good on them. You know what? I bet they're going to tear me a new one. I bet they're going to watch the video of me eating the barbecue from the other day and probably make fun of how awkward I look when I eat. Everyone says I look awkward. I believe you guys. I don't know because I can't see myself eating ever, and I don't go back and watch those videos. I believe you. So I'm sure that they'll probably make fun of me, you know, in a video like that or whatever. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Well, he must have been a little more than okay with it because he was in their chat practically begging for them to watch that video. He also says that he doesn't know how he looks when he eats, and that's just not really believable as he's always looking at himself in the preview in OBS. I'm supposed to believe he's never caught a glimpse mid-bite or that he's never seen any of the memes that have come from his eating segments? Give me a break, dude. And notice he said the opinion of some people on the internet were changing in his favor, yet he fails to name anyone other than known trolls Kino Casino again. Imagine that. Speaking of imagining that, comments from the 60 skulls, but don't worry, you won't have to imagine anymore because here they are. Fort Worth Rays says, Rich set himself up by saying he's gonna flag the video. Now, even if he doesn't flag the video, a troll can flag it and say he told them to. Edit, I didn't know Phil was gonna say the same thing, lol. Yeah, isn't it strange when that happens, when you say something that actually makes sense and is relevant and DSP just so happens to say the same thing? It doesn't always happen because most of the time he talks nonsense, so it's a little strange when it does. But you're absolutely right, and that's just typical lolcow behavior. Just announce every action that you take so that the trolls know exactly how to mess with you in the future. It's a foolproof plan, really. Harley Wood says this man knows so little about sex and reproduction that he genuinely thinks that reproducing is the easiest thing in the world that anyone can do. Just goes to show how well his sex life with Cat is going. I genuinely believe that just about any 18-year-old has more information on reproduction and the acts that go into reproducing than DSP would. He's so inexperienced in just about every single facet of his life, and this is no exception. I'm just curious as to how he's managed to convince 2 different women now to enter into these contactless relationships with him. Doesn't seem like something that a sane person would agree to, if you ask me. And Darth Muffin says this is such a strange situation. In any other case, he would be calling them misery brokers. He even admits that's what Kino Casino does, and also admits to watching them clowning on him, but still is positive towards them. It's incredibly suspicious. And that's really what all of the confusion is about. It just doesn't make any sense. This is so out of character for DSP, and even the people who are constantly preying on his downfall understand that this is not going to end good for him. He refuses to listen to anybody that actually has his best interest in mind because of course he knows best. I'm just hoping that Kino eventually decides to make the right decision and absolutely felt DSP to Kingdom Come. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Speaking of waiting, till the end of this video, so thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video, but until then, make sure that you check out other Detractor content and dive deeper into that. Snortex.
Having fun, chilling with you guys,